Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of what we're gonna do some spoilers here of some new cards that got printed. Recently there was 59, and now we're up to 67. And some of the cards weren't too interesting, but there were two that we wanted to talk about. The first, unfortunately, do they have a picture that's not in like Korean or whatever that is?
No, they've only got a foreign picture.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Don't they know that this is America?
America.
Okay, well, I'll blow this up for you guys so you can see it. Bringing it up on this. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Okay, so we have Dimir Charm, which is it's blue-black instant. Choose one. Counter target sorcery spell, or destroy target creature with power 2 or less, or look at the top 3 cards of target player's library so you can target them, and then you put one of those back on top of the library and the other 2 back in the graveyard. So you don't actually get to draw a card or anything, but you get to manipulate the top 3 cards of somebody's library. And then the Signal of the Clans is interesting as well. You search your library. It's a red-green instant. You search your library for 3 creature cards, and it says if you search for 3 cards with different names, then you choose one of them at random and put it into your hand. And then you shuffle the rest into your library. So, what do you think about Dimir Charm, Sasha?
I think it's very good. Like, it's very it's good. Versatile. Like, all the modes are very playable, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how relevant the 2 or less is going to be.
Yeah, that's pretty much like going to be the deciding factor whether it makes it constructed. Because the third mode is always going to be playable no matter what. Like, the counter-target sorcery, that's gravy if that's actually good and constructed. Like, there's Farseek and Burrow Rights and Terminus. But it really depends on how often you can kill creatures of 2 or less.
It does suck that Supreme Verdict is uncounterable. I mean, like, those clauses are actually pretty relevant with cards like this.
Right.
I mean, like, being able to counter a Supreme Verdict would be pretty nice if you're trying to play some aggro control deck.
It would have been cool if it was exile target sorcery spell.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'd like it more, but,
Yeah.
I don't know, I think I remember, with the destroy target creature with power 2 or less, it kind of reminds me of, what was the card that switched power and toughness? It was not Fleeting Distraction.
Twisted Image.
Yeah. There was Twisted Image, and then there was also, when the Hero of Oxid Ridge got printed, and they both had the power clause of, like, creatures with power 1 or less can't block, and then people started to realize with Twisted Image that you could use it on, like, Wall of Omens or Spellskite and draw a card. And usually with cards like that, and, like, 2 or less, actually, that's actually a pretty broad spectrum, because with the Twisted Image, it had to be 0 power in order to utilize it the best, and then with the
0 toughness, you mean?
No, 0 power.
Oh, right, sorry.
Because then it would make it, yeah. And then with the what was the Hero of Oxid Ridge was really good because it got past, like, Wall of Omens and Overgrown Battlements and stuff like that. It just, like, you can't block with those anymore. So that was kind of cool. And destroying any creature with power 2 or less, especially as a 2-drop, like, I think a lot of the times you're just going to be using this card on turn 2 to kill a Diregraph Ghoul or whatever, even like an Avacyn's Pilgrim if you're on the play. But at the same time, like, there's quite a few threatening cards that are 3 or 4 mana, like we were talking about, like Silverblade Paladin, Huntmaster of the Fells, that you're going to be happy to use a 2 mana instant to kill.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like it's just, like, it's good in every matchup. Against aggro, you just, like, cycle it to kill a creature, pretty much.
I kind of like it with Augur Bolus, too. Not only does it reveal it to Augur Bolus, but being able to, like, use this and put an instant on top and then cast Augur so you know Augur's going to hit. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's still any kind of advantage, but
It's cute. Like, it might be okay.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's more for the other side. Like, Augur is missing, because right now creatures are just better than spells in Standard in general, because you have, like, Cavernous Souls to get around things. Like, counter spells are the best kind of spells in the format right now, and then, like, Planeswalkers. But other than that, the dominating things in the format are, like, Thragtusk and, like, Hellrider and Geralf's Messenger, like, aggro creatures. Restoration Angel, Craterhoof, Behemoth, stuff like that. Like, the creatures are really dominating the format, so in order to make Augur Bolus good, you need to be printing better instants and sorceries. We also talked about the synergy with Miracles.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how you can just set up any miracle. Like the best one's probably like Terminus on Demand, or Entreat, or even Temporal Mastery. Because late game, if you need to find Entreat to close the game out, you can just use this to dig for it.
Yeah, I was thinking like kind of in a weird situation because I think this is a control deck card.
Most definitely.
No, I mean, I guess
like you can play it in aggro control, sure, but I think it's like designed for control decks.
I just don't really see like using this card in like blue-black zombies, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't, because it still doesn't hit the Supreme Verdict. Sure, it counters Terminus, I guess, and then like you don't really. I mean, like it's not like those decks were lacking things that destroy creatures with power 2 or greater. And
right,
then,
gotta put my grave callers in the graveyard, man. Like,
yeah, I mean that's like the only thing that's good in the graveyard, though.
yeah.
The rest of the cards don't really do anything. Yeah, I like the card. I think that you're right with the setting up the miracle thing. That's probably the coolest thing you can do with it. I mean, obviously you do get to dig a little deeper, and like we talked about, it being kind of like Scry, where a lot of the times with Scry you like put the one you don't want. It kind of like with Sleight of Hand, you choose the one you want, but throw the other one away.
Yeah, it's good with the graveyard synergies as well. You can play like Lingering Souls, Think Twice, or even Unburial Rights targets.
Exactly, and they were being really careful with that on cards like Jace, how it puts it on bottom, and like stuff like that, where it doesn't actually put it to the graveyard, which is really annoying.
Yeah, I think Jace would be like much, much better if you put it to the graveyard.
Oh, I'd like him so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you could play cards like Lingering Souls, and like if he reveals 3 Lingering Souls, like that's just nasty because you're using every single one of those cards. If you reveal like Think Twice, Lingering Souls, and Unburial Rights, it's like you're gonna be using those.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it goes. That's pretty much just a draw 3, and then you get to do it again next turn.
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is with Jace, like you actually get a card out of it, where with Dimir Charm you don't. So that's why
Dimir Charm you have to work for your money.
Exactly, which is why I think the miracle thing is better, because we were talking about like if you hold open, you're happy to pass turn and hold open Dimir Charm because you're either going to counter a big sorcery, like if they're playing a deck like Epic Experiment, or even hitting like a Farseek or what are those? All the Travis Wu decks are playing like Diabolic Revelations,
like increasing ambition as well.
Yeah, and I actually kind of like the fact that it counters a sorcery because it just hoses those decks from ever becoming good if you're actually playing with Dimir Charm.
Right.
Because if you ever go up against them, you're just going to cast this and snapcast it on all of their highly relevant, world
Yeah,
fires.
like a nice Rangers buff.
Exactly. And not to mention it's also good against aggro with the destroy creature with power 2 or less, or you're happy to end a turn, set up a little bit of card selection on like being able to Temporal Mastery would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
Even against aggro, like if they don't play something with power 2 or less, but you set up like a Terminus, like that's pretty good.
Yeah, or you can set up to hit land drops if you really need to.
True, if you really don't want to blank.
Yeah.
Actually, setting up land drops is pretty good because you probably don't want to be putting the lands to the graveyard unless you're playing Deathred Shaman.
Right.
I mean, the things that are going to be useful in the graveyard are Unburial Rights targets, Snapcaster targets, Angel of Serenity targets, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the card. I don't really know what it's gonna like. I don't just want to like start building with it right away. But if I were playing a blue-black deck, I think that I would be considering trying to lean more towards like a miracle control deck. Maybe using Dimir Charm is kind of what I think.
Right.
Miracle control actually sounds kind of tight.
Sounds pretty fun, like grindy type deck.
What are the miracles that are out there? There's I don't like
Entreat.
Let's talk about good ones. I don't want to talk about Entreat. Temporal Mastery I like. It didn't see a ton of play, but it's still one that like if you could utilize Temporal Mastery, that's one that I'd like. The Angel thing I just feel like is too easy to answer and is too shitty in your hand.
Right.
Because like you talk about like Bonfire. Like Bonfire is still fine in your hand, which is one of the things that makes it so good.
Yeah. I know, probably like Bonfire's a fine one if you can set it up like some aggro control Grixis deck. Maybe even Splashing Ghosts in draft.
Yeah, so
There
Bonfire...
are tons of different things you can do with this card.
There's also the the Devastation Tide. I've always